Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show with your host Ram here. Today I was working, so I couldn't actually bring you the cricket show, but here I am once again back with the cricket show. And so it is going to be basically a very short summary of two matches which were played today. First was the fourth one-day international in England versus Australia, where I would say England had a crushing victory over Australia. They first restricted Australia to just 200 Australia batting first, and then England going on to a 8-wicket victory. We will be talking about that. It was a crushing victory, I would say. And as far as New Zealand and West Indies were concerned, the one-day international, which was played here at Sabina Park in Jamaica, had a different story to tell. Even though West Indies amassed 315 for 5, New Zealand definitely gave a real fight here, and that was very refreshing to see, with New Zealand finishing all out for 260, eventually losing the match by 55 runs. So first let's have a peek at the England versus Australia game, where England are now, they are 3-0 up in the series with only one match to go, which would be played at Manchester on 10th of July. So England and Australia clashed at the Riverside ground here in Chesterley Street, and the verdict was England winning the match by 8 wickets. Australia were the ones who batted first. Yes, there was definitely a cloud cover, there was some dampness in the pitch, and the ballers really exploited that well, and the person who really exploited that well was every bowler bowled well, but Stephen Finn in particular was absolutely impressive, with 10 overs, 2 maidens, 37 runs and 4 wickets, and then Ravi Bopara bowling superbly and bowling one ball which was I would say the ball of the match, because this ball was bowled to George Bailey, who was clean bowled. The ball was angled between the middle and the off stump, and Bailey played for it, and it went and hit the top of the off bail. So that is some splendid bowling coming in here from the Englishmen. And Australia batted first. They mustered 200 for 9. They were struggling. They lost David Warner early. In fact, Finn was the one who gave them the breakthrough by getting 2 quick wickets. First he had Warner LBW for 2. He sent Peter Forrest to the pavilion for a duck. He was LBW Finn for a duck. So that was 2 wickets to go. After that was Shane Watson and Michael Clarke. Shane Watson and Michael Clarke just tried to stitch something there, but only reached as far as 57 when Shane Watson was consumed by Bresnan, clean bowled for 28 or 54 balls, 2 fours and 1 6. And Michael Clarke, he played a very good knock of 43, but Stephen Finn came on to his next spell, and he had the wicket of Michael Clarke was bowled. And let me tell you, Michael Clarke was also struggling. As I said, none of the Australian batsmen were really able to time the ball, other than David Hussey, who collected the highest score for Australia there with 70 of 73 balls with 9 fours. But Michael Clarke, yes, he definitely played well. He made 43 of 85 balls with 4 fours. And then all the other batsmen picked up, like George Bailey was out for 9, and Brett Lee gave some good company here to Hussey in getting that partnership moving, because that was a time when England were really in the dumps there at 96 for 6. But this partnership, which went on to 70-run partnership for the 7th wicket, really helped Australia, I would say, to reach 200, because Brett Lee contributed 27 of 41 balls with 2 fours and 1 6, and 200 for 9 on the board for Australia. And Anderson, 10 overs, 2 for 34, bowled well. Finn, as I said, he was absolutely on the money. He was mixing it up. He was bowling the fuller length delivery. He was he was putting the batsmen in all sorts of trouble. He was bowling the bouncer very well, and 4 for 37 was the net result. Tim Bresnan, 2 for 46. Broad had none for 30. As I said, all the England bowlers bowled well, but it was a special mention here coming in for Stephen Finn, 4 for 37, and it was Ravi Bopara, 9 overs, no maiden, 1 for 29, and that is something which is very refreshing for England, because what Ravi Bopara is doing now, he's showing his all-round prowess to the team. He's contributing in an all-round fashion, and that's really helping matters for England there. And that's what, even though Graham Swan was not there in the team, England showed a lot of poise and a lot of comfort in getting to this win. Well, as far as the England innings were concerned, chasing 201 to win the match. They lost. In fact, the opening partnership was good. It took the score went on to 70. But also, I would say here that when England were playing, the pitch conditions were much better, the sun was shining, and there was probably, I would say, it was a different ball game altogether. And in fact, it was Michael Clarke trying to use all his bowling reserves. If you see, he used 8 bowlers today: Brett Lee, Ilfenos, McKay, Pattinson, Watson, Michael Clarke himself, David Hussey, and David Warner. He tried to do everything, but well, England were absolutely equal to the task. In fact, Ken McKay was the one who actually gave them the breakthrough when Alistair Cook was gone for 29 of 46 balls with 5 fours. Ian Bell, well, he continued his good form, contributing 69 of 94 balls with 9 fours, and that was number 2 when the score was 136 when the wicket fell, and that was the 33rd over. But after that, there was absolutely no joy for Australia, as Jonathan Trott and Bopara saw to it that they reached the victory mark without any wickets really falling, with Jonathan Trott on an unbeaten 64 of 102 balls with 4 fours. Ravi Bopara was not out on 33 of 47 balls with 3 fours, 201 for 2. The victory was England's, and England had a 3-0, and in fact they already won the series at a 3-0 and with 1 to go. Bowling figures: Brett Lee, it was very unfortunate that Brett Lee had to walk off due to some problem, and he didn't take any further part in the game. 2.2 overs, 1 made and none for 12, so that was a weak link for Australia, I would say. Ilfenos 9.4 overs, no made and none for 36. Clint McKay was absolutely on the money. He was looking like he was almost equal to what Stephen Finn was doing for England, but well, he couldn't really he took 2 wickets for 29 runs in his 10 overs. Pattinson, we had a first look at him. I wouldn't say he was really impressive. 10 overs, 1 made and none, 46. Watson 1 over for 5 runs. Michael Clarke 5 overs for 17. David Hussey was used in full measure by Michael Clarke today, but to no avail. 8.5 overs, no made and none, 48. 1 over, none for 8 for David Warner. Stephen Finn, for his excellent bowling, was named man of the match. So well, let's move the story here now to West Indies at Sabina Park, Kingston in Jamaica, where this was the second one-day international. Yes, West Indies definitely won the match. They were the ones who batted first and amassed 315 for 5. It was built on that very, very punishing partnership between Chris Gayle, who contributed 125 runs of 107 deliveries, 8 fours and 9 sixes. What a colossal innings it was, 125. And Marlon Samuels got to his century, 101 of 103 balls with 7 fours and 1 6. Sharp contrast innings. If you see Chris Gayle, well, he was not the real slam bang self. He used to give respect to the bowlers, but there was a time when he actually smashed Kyle Mills over mid-off consecutively for 3 sixes, and that was really good to see. And it was a sharp contrast because Samuels was the one who was really doing the stabilizing part, because he was getting all these runs into singles, but Chris Gayle was scoring the boundaries. And both of them put up a very, very punishing partnership. 98 for 2 in the 19th over. West Indies went on to 227 with Gayle and Marlon Samuels really taking the New Zealand attack, tearing the New Zealand attack to shreds, I would say. And well, the score went from 98 to 227. So that gives you an idea as to what damage Gayle and Samuels did. And that was the reason West Indies found themselves at 315 for 5. Yes, I would say one has to be commended New Zealand that they didn't give nothing away in the last 5 overs, because not a lot of runs were scored. And Gayle contributed 125, 8 fours and 9 sixes. He continues to grow. In fact, Chris Gayle also became the first West Indian player now. In fact, he holds the West Indian record for most centuries in a one-day internationals. He went past the great Brian Lara's record of 19 centuries. So he has 20 centuries to his name now. So that is a record for West Indies now that Gayle possesses. Marlon Samuels went after 2006. This was his first century after making a comeback into the West Indian team. And Samuels was not out on 100. Really deserved it. And well, there's nothing really to talk about as far as West Indies innings were concerned. Simmons was out for 3. Dwayne Smith today made 24 of 36 balls with 2 fours and 1 6. Kieron Pollard and Dwayne Bravo unfortunately failed with 8 and 3 respectively. 315 for 5. The bowling, well, Rob, in fact, also I would like to say something here about Marlon Samuels' innings. Marlon Samuels was all about class. He was getting the singles, he was allowing all the strike to Gayle, but 3 strokes that he played, 3 boundaries that he played of the bowling of Tim Southey was a real treat to watch. It was really done with a lot of poise through the cover region. So 315 for 5 of 50 overs. The West Indies, it was a very good score. Kyle Mills today 1 for 55. Saudi 1 for 3 for 55 was the most successful. Nathan McCullum 6 overs cost him 35. Jacob Bottom 10 overs, none for 68, who really took a lot of tap from both Chris Gayle and Marlon Samuel's bat. Nathula 10 overs, 1 made and 1 for 66, also got hammered by both these batsmen, and 2 overs for 14 for Rob Nicol, and Daniel Flynn bowled 1 over for 9 runs, and Williamson 1 over for 8 runs. As far as New Zealand were concerned, they really fought hard. There was a lot of improvement in the way they played today. If you see Rob Nicol, well, he failed. He made only 15. But Martin Guptill, it was very important for Martin Guptill to stay. Well, he did his part of contributing 51 of 81 balls with 5 fours. Flynn made 21 of 17 balls with 4 fours. The captain, Kane Williamson, contributed a very good 58 of 65 balls with 4 fours and 1 6. But Watling was the one who really kept the hopes alive for New Zealand by playing a very wonderful innings, but he could not get much support from the tail, because Watling himself had an unbeaten 72 to his name of 62 balls with 4 fours and 2 sixes when New Zealand's score stood at 260, and they lost this match to the West Indies by 55 runs, thus giving West Indies a 2-0 lead in the series. Unfortunately, he didn't get support from Tim Southee, who was out for 2. Nathan McCullum was out for 1. Jacob Oram, unfortunately, was out for 10 of 12 balls, and Kyle Mills was out for 6. So basically, if probably Watling could have got some support from the lower order, probably things could have been different. The 55 runs could have been a bit narrowed probably, but well, I think New Zealand can take heart from the fact that they had a fighting, it was a fighting, it was a real battle there. I mean, New Zealand didn't allow just to be cowed down just because West Indies scored 315. They went for it, but they finished at 260 all out. Looking at the bowling figures, Andre Russell had 9 overs no maiden, 1 for 51. Rampal was excellent, 9 overs no maiden, 3 for 50. Dwayne Bravo bowled 3 overs for 20. 10 overs 245 for Sunil Narine. Today got a bit of tap. Darren Sammy bowled 8 overs for 43, and Marlon Samuels 8 overs no maiden, 2 for 46. And also Darren Sammy also contributed to the bat, as you know. He contributed a quick fire 31 towards the end of 21 balls with 1 4 and 2 6. That is in the West Indies innings, which I forgot to touch on. Well, so West Indies lead the series. I mean, they lead the series by 2-0 here. West Indies winning the match by 55 runs. As I said, this was a very quick cricket summary. The reason being that, as I said, I didn't have much time, so this was a very quick summary. I hope you all enjoyed it. That's it from me, your host Ram, for the Cricket Happening show for today. See you all tomorrow in my next show. And tomorrow, let me also tell you one more thing. Tomorrow it's going to be the 3rd test match, which is going to be played between Sri Lanka and Pakistan, which is going to be played at the Palakele cricket ground. So I'll be back with a full match report on that. Until then, it's goodbye from your host Ram. Thank you.